Namaste, Shri Krishna
Yes.
ji. Krishna ji, now gossiping has become a trend.
Gossiping is always a trend.
So there's a magazines in regard to gossiping. There are YouTube channels in regard to
Yeah.
gossiping, and there's gossiping in friendship, in family, everywhere. So why are we so addicted to gossiping, Krishna ji, and how do we come out of it?
There are many ways to answer this, but one interesting way to address this will be that the human mind is just not quiet. And when it's not quiet, it loves to gossip. So, today science tells us that when your brain wave mode is in beta state, which is basically 14 to 30 cycles per second, and scientists now call this as the monkey mind or the monkey brain. So, most of humanity, most of the time, their brain wave mode is this. It's 14 to 30 cycles per second. So the brain is really beating very fast. And the result of that is the mind is very fast. It's not quiet. So mind is the consciousness of the brain. So brain you can see it's physical. Mind is where your thoughts are, perceptions are, ideas are, where logical thinking is happening, all that stuff. It's the consciousness of the brain. So they coexist. When your brain is beating so fast, the result is monkey mind. And a monkey mind cannot keep quiet. So it is a mind that is distracted. It is a mind that is not focused. It's a mind that's not attentive. And above all, it's a mind that has very less memory. So if I'm speaking something to you, if your state is, if your brain is in beta wave mode, then you will hardly absorb what I'm speaking. You will only absorb 5% of what I'm speaking because the balance time you were thinking of something else, you were lost in your own thoughts, you're gone. So for many, many people, it's external. That is, they just can't keep quiet. So internally you're not quiet. It's constantly chattering. Externally also not quiet. You're constantly chattering. So the internal chatter has become now external. Now, how much can you talk? Beyond a point, you need to gossip. So one of the qualities of human mind is to exaggerate. So it's a natural quality. It loves to exaggerate because human beings are good storytellers. Human beings can uh, write songs. So it's all imagination, right? So it has a strong quality for imagination. So gossip is one form of an imagination. So unfortunately, imagination is imagination. It's nothing real. So gossips are, most of it is not real. So again, the root of gossip is when your brain is in that wave mode, when it is in a wave mode of, when it is in that beta wave mode where it's beating very fast. That is the result why the gossip is happening. If your brain moves to, let's say, alpha brain wave mode, where it's beating from 8 to 14 cycles per second, the resultant mind is an attentive mind. The mind has now become more focused, it's become more attentive, more concentrated, better memory, better connection. Gossip is much lesser there because you're just paying attention to what is happening in front of you. You're aware of your problems, you're aware of your challenges, you're aware of what needs to be done tomorrow. You are focused on what needs to be done. Your gossip will come down. Not that you won't gossip, but you'll gossip very less because your brain is now functioning differently. It's a superior brain. A brain that is functioning from alpha mode is a superior brain because the resultant mind is a superior mind. And that is the mind youngsters need today to become successful in life. If you want to study very well, you need an attentive mind, a focused mind. If you want to be ahead of everybody else in career, you need a focused mind, a mind that can connect. All this is only possible when your brain changes. So if you do the soul sync practice, which Shri Preetaji has designed, it is particularly designed for your brain to move from beta wave mode to alpha wave mode. It calms your brain down. It's only a 12 minutes practice, and once you do that, you will find that your brain is now beating slowly. It is now beating between 8 to 14 cycles per second. The result of that is a focused mind. So, from a scientific perspective, gossip is happening because your brain wave mode is a monkey brain wave mode, and the result of that is a monkey mind. A mind that needs to talk, that needs to gossip, that just cannot keep calm, cannot keep quiet. So a lot of gossip is going on. So that is why you see so much of noise. You see noise everywhere. Noise in your family, noise in media, noise throughout. because it is a result of a mind that just cannot keep calm. Yes.
Namaste, Krishnaji. My question is this addiction passes to the next generation? Because I have seen people, like parents are addicted to eating, that then the kids started to have such an addiction. Is that possibility to it will transfer to the genes?
So yes, it is possible that addictions can be transferred to the next generation. Now, actually, if you see families who are eating a lot and they're fat, you will see that the children also are fat. I've met so many families where the children also are fat because the parents are fat. I would say almost 95% of them. Very rarely our children are slim and the parents are fat. So it's become a habit in the family itself to eat a lot, right? So it's become a bad habit. But let's say that your grandparent or your father was addicted to some behavior, some kind of, let's say he was addicted to alcohol, and you actually grew up for quite some time not touching alcohol. But one fine day, when you were, say, 25 years old, suddenly you turned towards having alcohol. For no reason. You suddenly said, today I'm going to taste it, I'm going to start having it. When such a thing happens, it is the gene information that is firing off in you. So it is called epigenetics, which is the information in your father's cell, in your grandfather's cell, great grandfather. Now science is telling us the 3 generations is where information gets passed on. That information has suddenly triggered off in your genes and you have suddenly become an alcoholic. And from that day onwards, you will slowly get addicted to alcohol. So it was an information that was lying dormant in you, and for some reason it just started off. That is why you will see a lot of people suddenly getting addicted to some kind of a bad habit, because it could be from the previous generation. So I was meeting a person recently, and this person was divorced 4 times and is now searching for a partner. So I asked her, how many times has your father gotten married? She was shocked with that question. She said, first time I'm thinking about it, 3 times. And she said, my grandfather, 2 times. So grandfather was 2 times, father was 3 times, she's 4 times. That compulsion to get married, she gets married to a person whom she loves, but then after a few years, divorces. No reason. The reason could be some arguments or some misunderstanding, but need not end up in divorce, but ends up in divorce. So today, science tells us that from generation to generation, these habits, these addictions get stronger. In the same way, good habits also can be passed on. So good habits that, let's say you were a regular meditator, you were in a calm state most of the time, those also will get passed on. Let's say you had a great feeling of seva, you contributed a lot, you worked for people, that also can get passed on. So both the good and the bad can get passed on. But if you looked at humanity, unfortunately we are seeing people are becoming more addicted. We are seeing people are living in more stressful states, anxious states. They're worried about the future. They are they have regret about their past. So unfortunately, the state that the humanity is cultivating is a suffering state. So when you are living in that suffering state, you will automatically pass on that state to your next generation. So living in a particular state also is an addiction. Let's say you are living a long time in loneliness. That also is an addiction. You got addicted to loneliness. Let's say you have a lot of anger in you. You got addicted to anger. So your inner states can also be addictions. What you do externally is also addictions. So anything that you spend a prolonged time, that's an addiction. So, and these addictions, yes, they can get easily passed on. They get passed on, in fact. That is why you will see a child who is an artist, parents or grandparents being an artist, You will see an actor, for example, again, parents or grandparents were great actors, politician the same, business people the same. So that gene information is getting passed on. So that next generation is actually becoming good at it.
My question is that can addiction always be for suffering or with always of pleasure?
Addiction is a classification, it's a framework. Okay. Now, there are certain addictions where certain kind of people actually do to cause harm for themselves, cause pain for themselves. So that kind of addiction also is there. So addiction is a framework. It is either you use it to cause pain to yourself or you escape through pleasure. Okay. So pleasure per se is not an addiction, but the means you use to get to pleasure is an addiction. So for example, I see some people who holiday a lot. Don't know why they're holidaying. They'll be just jumping from one place to another place to another. In any place, they cannot stay for more than 5 days or 7 days. They get bored. Okay, let's go to the next place. So that is pleasure. You're traveling, you're seeing different places, you're getting pleasure, but it's an addiction. If you stop that, you will go mad. So that's pleasure. Smoking is pleasure, alcohol is pleasure. So most of the addictions, I would say, qualify as addictions that give you pleasure. There are some addictions that give you pain. So, but all these come from suffering states. Some people choose pain, some people choose pleasure. There are a lot of people in this world who choose pain. They can, take a small blade, cut themselves now and then. They can confine themselves to a room, and not come out of the room for many days, not talk to anybody. They cause a lot of pain to themselves. I know people. So in Japan, you have got this youngsters who call themselves as ikikomoris. And I'm told there are over 100,000 of them or more. All are youngsters. They confine themselves to a room and they never come out. Food is served in the room. And all that they do is they watch TV and play video games. And they can stay in that room for years. And very sad. They're completely torturing themselves by being lonely. So you have people who can torture themselves. You have people who can take pleasure as the route, pleasure as the path, and again, basically, beyond a point, torture themselves. You have people who can torture others because they're so unhappy.